Thank you so much for being here with us, Brian. Could you please tell us a bit about yourself and about your role and journey in the repair industry?
Yeah, it's nice to be here and helping the team at RepairDesk. My name is Bryan Holmes. I'm the managing director at iStation. We're a UK-based Apple repair business. We're an independent business. We've been trading for just over 7 years. My kind of journey in the repair industry, I've been working in IT for 35 years in one way or another, mainly in sort of third line support. And I work for a lot of the big companies, HP, IBM, all those types of companies, going back as far as the 80s, repairing, all those old kind of PCs back in those days. My kind of journey into the sort of Apple repair and owning a store happened when I was made redundant from a third line support role at HP in 2014, and I was left thinking to myself, what do I do next? Where do I go? Who do I work for? And the decision was that I was going to work for myself. So I started iStation back in 2014 in a bedroom, like a lot of the repair companies probably start in iPhones and iPads. And from the start, we always said that we only wanted to specialize in Apple products, and we didn't look at anything else. So we just, we were repairing the mobile devices on a daily basis. Customers coming at our own front door at all times of the day, dropping devices off, and it quickly became apparent that running the business from your house wasn't the best way. So within about sort of 6 months, we moved into a business centre where we had an office and we were repairing products from there. And it kind of grew from there. We ended up after a year or so there, we had a retail store, very small, very basic. Again, only Apple products, and we managed to get ourselves into Apple Consultant Network, which is a business to business side of Apple. So how that works is if a business customer goes into an Apple store or talks to somebody in Apple business and they buy a product, but they then want it setting up in their business, Apple don't offer that service from the Genius Bar, if you like. So they have authorized business consultants that they then pass that customer on to. So we got into the network in 2014. We're still in the network, and we're one of the longest standing members in the UK. So we get referrals from Apple stores for business customers, from Apple Business Online, and we follow up and visit the customer sites and see the customers face to face in their own environment. Most of the work that involves is integrating Macs into networks, different types of storage devices. So our key customer in business is filmmakers, photographers, social media, all those type of people that you'd expect to have a Mac and need different IT requirements. So that's one side of the Apple coin, if you like. And we continued doing Apple repairs from a third party point of view, using third party spares, which obviously in the future, it's become apparent that Apple are changing the way that the devices are designed, and they want to try and stop third parties from repairing them. Obviously, I'm aware of the right to repair bill and all these things that are going on in the background. So we took a decision to get sort of further into the Apple support ecosystem. So last year we became part of the independent repair provider system. So we can now run all genuine Apple diagnostics. We use Apple tools that they recommend. We get genuine Apple parts. So we're kind of phasing out now the third-party side of the repair business, where we would buy third-party parts in. So we're trying to, every repair we do now, we're trying to offer a genuine part to a customer. Cost-wise, obviously, it's a lot more money, but that's kind of the route that we see it taking. And our next step really is to apply to become what's called an ASP, which is an authorized service provider. So we'll then have the ability to do warranty repairs and do everything basically an Apple Store does. So that's our where we came from and where we think we're going next.
It sounds like you guys have a really long history with Apple, and it's been pretty fruitful so far, wouldn't you say?
It doesn't come without its downsides. Obviously, a business with 5 employees and a small retail store, going up against the $1 trillion company with thousands of employees. We're a very small fish in a very big pond. But we've done everything the right way. We've got a good rapport with the teams that we work with at Apple. So yeah, we're looking towards the future, and working with them a bit more. But it is a difficult job. Things are day-to-day things are quite hard to sort of manage and process when you're working directly with Apple. And I think you find if you talk to any other business that's in that situation, whether they're an IRP or an ASP or whichever acronym they want to use, it's a situation that has to be managed carefully.
That's true. I completely understand that. With everything that you've had to do to be able to be partnered with Apple, it seems like quite a lot of journey. Could you tell us a bit about the sort of requirements that you had to fulfill to be partnered with Apple, to be part of the consultancy network, and what sort of benefit did it do to your business overall?
So in terms of Apple Consultant Network, in the early days, you had to be certified from a point of view on Mac. You had to have some specialisms in certain areas, whether that be videography or audio or education or mobile device management. There's various areas that Apple want their consultants to have specialisms in. And you could pick one of those areas or two of those areas, and you would be the specialist in that kind of area. From my point of view, I just dove straight into it and did as much of the training that Apple made available. At that time, the training you had to pay for, so it was quite an expensive journey initially. So we just myself, I did blanket every piece of training they offered and that was available. So we were mobile device management certified, we were video audio certified, Mac certified. We did every possible option so we could give the customers the best range of services. Up to today, now all the training that the consultants get is free. There's a lot more training available with third-party products as well. So if you talk about networks, there's Cisco training available. There's Unify training available. Jamf for mobile management. Apple get you involved with all of these different manufacturers and device suppliers and get you the training for free and link you up with all of these providers so they can then pass work to you as well. So it's in the last 2 years, it's grown quite dramatically in terms of the training and the opportunities that we get from it. So I would have said probably 30 or 40% increase in work from Consultant Network in the last 2 years, which has got us into some quite big businesses and work with some really good people. As I say, one of our main customers are videographers. We work with a lot of those YouTube filmers, content creators. From a business to business point of view, that's kind of who we work with the most.
Seems like the consultant network has benefited you quite a lot, and it's also giving you a sort of window into these other businesses that you can not only just work with, but also collaborate with and develop a relationship with. You've obviously had access to all these other businesses and the way that they work, and to be able to develop a relationship with them. So, how has that benefited you, over the course of time, not just from a business perspective, but from other areas as well, where you got to learn how they did things and maybe develop relationships with
Yes, I think as a business, we've learned a lot over the last few years working with some bigger businesses. We are still a relatively small team. Some of the customers that we've got involved with from Apple, are 2, 3, 400 employees plus compared to what we are, with multiple locations and multiple types of device that you use. So when you're working with those type of businesses, you've got to kind of increase your own game and look at some of the processes and some of the ways that they work, which is involved as taking even more qualifications outside of Consultant Network just to make our own business stronger. One example is cybersecurity is quite a big thing at the moment. And some of the companies that we've worked with won't actually work with us unless we've got a certification that says that we've looked at all of our internal business cybersecurity and systems, and we've got all of the policies in place and protection. to protect our own business before we start working with that business. Financial point of view as well, we've increased all the systems that we work on, our finances and our accounting packages. RepairDesk was a prime example. Up till 2 years ago, we had our own custom built CRM system and repair system and inventory that we sort of built ourselves from the start. We put a lot of time and effort into it. But when we started working with the bigger businesses and we started having more turnover in terms of devices that we were repairing, it quickly became clear that we got to the end of the road with the development of our own system. And we looked at various options for repair systems, and RepairDesk was the one that impressed us the most. It had the most functionality, the most integrations. Some of the integrations that RepairDesk had, we already had other systems in place. So, for example, Ring Central, we already had a Ring Central phone system. So, having RepairDesk and the integration there was a big plus point. The ability just to be able to give our customers regular updates in forms of text or email. We didn't have that in our old system. So, it was a massive jump for us. It was a big change in how we do things day to day, but the processes that we've put in place over the last couple of years since we came on board with RepairDesk have helped the business grow because the customers have more confidence in their repair and how their repair is managed, with the regular updates and the inventory management and all these different things. So RepairDesk is one of the key things that I think, one of the key changes that we made, and it made quite a big impact in the business and being able to manage work within the consultant network and the independent repair programs.
Well, that's great to hear. And we're really glad that RepairDesk has been a good investment for your business and a great change when you decided to scale up. Speaking of scaling up, with these other businesses that you were working with, obviously, it required you to lift up your operations as well, develop new things, be as strong as they are to be able to, form a relationship with them. Was there something that you learned through that relationship and you decided to implement in your own business to make it better?
Yeah, I think, as I say, we're a fairly small business, and when we started working with some of the bigger companies, we knew if we were going to continue to grow and continue to work with customers like this, we had to step up our game a little bit, and we had to put all of these processes in place. We moved our location late last year. Unfortunately, the timing wasn't great. We were due to reopen the new location in November, and that was in the UK the date for the second lockdown. So the retail store remained closed. However, we could still do business to business work, but we increased the size of our sort of location threefold with bigger workshops, bigger stores for inventory. We added the retail store to it as well, which we didn't have before. We're able to now sell more products, offer more services, have more devices in for repair because of the sort of the workshop space that we put in. And on the side of that, the workshop space that we created was all driven by the requirements that Apple had. So we had to put specific equipment in place. And if anybody that works with Apple and they think they've been doing well repairing products before, when they see the range of tools that Apple use, they're quite secret until you start working with them. Just removing a battery from a device and fitting a battery to device. Every repair shop will have its process to do that. But if you have to follow the Apple process, it's a completely different way of doing things. So we had as I say, step up quite a lot and increase our capacity to cope with the next level. And we're already thinking about what our next move is to sort of increase capacity with more staff, more specialists in the store, ready for that next step that we hope to take.
Well, more is always better, and it looks like you're on the right track because obviously, if you're going to scale up, increasing your capacity and increasing your processes, improving them, is a big part of it, and that's a really great thing that you're doing. To be talking about Apple, the way that Apple does things, it's no doubt very different. And I believe that there's a certain level of difficulty that's associated with it, a lot more protocol that you have to go through. how's the process of being able to go through that and sort of maintain that relationship that you had with Apple? And how difficult was the change for you from doing what you were doing before?
So it follows different ways really. You've got your repair processes, you've got your inventory processes, financial processes. All of these things, when you deal with Apple, have to change. If we need to order a part for a customer device, we have to follow a process. We when we get a device in for repair, the first stage is we book it in through RepairDesk. So we've got all of the details of the device and the customer. If that device then goes down the route of an Apple repair, we have to book it on Apple's repair system. We have to run a full Apple diagnostic on the device before Apple will even allow us to look at spare parts for the device. Once we identify the problem, we're then able to order a part direct from Apple. The financial side of it, you have to have a fairly substantial amount of cash placed in a bank account with Apple to cover your part orders. And it has to just sit there and cover off everything you order from them. So from the minute you order something, they authorize it, it then gets shipped to us for the repair. Once we get the part, we have a certain amount of time that we have to complete the repair, and then a certain amount of time that we have to then return the faulty part. We don't retain any of the parts that we remove from customer devices, even batteries. Apple have a process for returning batteries, regardless of their condition. We then get replenished on whichever part we order. We then get replenished on that part within a couple of days, and then it sits on the shelf for the next repair if we need it.
So yeah, when we, as I say, when we order a part from Apple, there's a specific process around that part and the repair. Every part that comes from Apple is serialized. So again, a great feature in RepairDesk. Whenever we get parts from Apple, we book them into RepairDesk as serialized parts, so we can track every part that we get and which device it goes into. We have to do exactly the same on Apple's repair system as well. I think in the future it will be really, really good. This is a little hint into the podcast here. If RepairDesk could create an integration into GSX, which is Apple's repair system, so that we don't have to do two jobs and copy the data from one place to another. So that each part comes serialized, and that part that Apple ship will only fit and only work in that device you're working on. So you can't exchange it into any other device without asking Apple to do that first. So for example, if we had an iPhone 12 and we ordered a display for it, and it arrived and we decided we wanted to put that display in a different iPhone 12, it wouldn't work. It will only work in the device that it came for. So the parts are very, very tightly controlled. There's no way you can order them and not use them. They've all got a process that they've got. As I say, once we've used a part, we have to ship it back in its original containers within a certain amount of time. And then we'll get a replenishment and we'll get a cost back for the exchange of that part. So my colleague who works in managing the inventory and the logistics and the finance side of it, I think her capacity in terms of what she does on a day-to-day basis from before we were working with Apple and the IRP side to now, I think she probably spends 50% of her day now on Apple sort of back office work, if you like, and keeping the tickets and the customer parts flowing for those repairs that come in. So it's not a relationship that faint hearted. It does stretch your processes quite a lot.
Oh, absolutely. It sounds really comprehensive and complicated to say the least. And I'm pretty sure that, being able to adapt to this sort of system must have been a challenge. The way that I see it is that to have a system like this, obviously there's a lot to do and there's a lot to be on top of. And, there is a point of contention where you have to update records in both, RepairDesk and Apple's system. To be able to cut down on that work would obviously be quite a relief to your burden. But at the same time, to be able to follow a lot of Apple's processes, even if they are very eccentric to say in a way, it does sort of give you a proper flow, a proper structure to be able to do things. And I believe that that somehow helped develop and shape the way that things run at your store. What do you think about that?
Absolutely, yeah. We've got into a lot of new habits now. So when devices come in, the staff are all instructed that the first thing they have to do is what one of Apple acronyms is a VMI, which is a visual manual inspection. Everything that comes in before we even decide what might be wrong with it, we inspect it from a visual point of view. Is it bent? Is it dented? Is it scratched? All this kind of stuff. We then run diagnostics, which before IRP we had access to limited diagnostics. Now with it, we've got a wealth of the same diagnostics that are run at the Apple stores. We have some great new processors. We use RepairDesk in all those processors, so we do the pre and post device checks. We tick all the boxes. We take as many images of devices as we can when they come in. Again, before we even start the repair, just so that we have got a great trail of information on that device for the time that it's with us and for any time it might come back to us. And everything, as I say, follows a specific process now, which, we had processes before, but now we've got some really, really deep and lengthy ones. So a customer might spend a little bit longer with us than they did before, but hopefully that helps us give them a better service all round.
Right. So, what's the feedback from your customers on that better service? Are they satisfied? Are they better? Are they happier with the way that your business has sort of shaped itself?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of long-standing customers that have been with us from the start, and our customer service has always been very, very specific and very good. The customer's always in the forefront of our mind. And again, RepairDesk with our continuous updates and text messages, emails, all this kind of stuff keeps the customer up to date where the repair is. We get a lot of good feedback. We get a lot of good reviews on our different platforms that we use for reviews for. And I think if I was the customer and I was bringing my device in, I'd be happy with the way that they're dealt with and the way that the processes go. We've had experience with other repair shops where customers have come to us from another shop and have told us their experience. I guess everybody's got different standards, but we kind of pride ourselves on one of the highest, and that shows in the reviews that we get, and the customers keep coming back and keep recommending other customers. The only I guess downside to some customers from the IRP processes that we do is the parts are inherently a lot more expensive than using a third party part. So our pricing system for Apple repairs is the same as a retail store for Apple. So it's the same cost whether you're an Apple store or you come here. Comparing for example, a screen repair to a third party screen repair, there's quite a difference in cost. But generally, the customers that want that repair and want to pay that a bit extra know the reason why it's costing them more. They're going to get a better warranty. They're going to get a better product long term. So yeah, it's quite a big change and quite a refreshing change, I think, for the customers.
Well, that's great because obviously the customers will know the value that they're getting from the repair, from specifically your kinds of repairs. And they're willing to pay for that, which means that there is a market for people who want to be able to get the best sort of repairs and they have the money to be able to spend. That sort of breaks the notion of, how repair shops really need to sort of like undercut themselves or they need to charge extra for people and give them substandard repairs. So that sort of reinforces that quality repairs, if you put the price on them, uh, the customer will pay for them. Regarding sorry, what I mean to say is if you put a price on them, then they will pay regardless of how much it costs because it does ensure quality.
Absolutely. And we give even when we were doing the third party repairs, we've always given a 12-month warranty with all our repairs, regardless of the part quality. Surprisingly, the part that comes from Apple, when we order a part direct from Apple, Apple only give us 3 months warranty with that part. Whereas our third party repair parts that we get from other suppliers, we get 12 months. So Apple have a different warranty structure, but we always reinforce Apple's warranty structure with our own. and bump that straight back up to 12 months. Any upgrades we do to Mac products or anything like that, we give a 3-year warranty. So, we're happy that any upgrades we give can carry a 3-year term. So a lot of repair shops that you hear about will give you a 90-day or a 1 month or something like that. Again, adding that extra warranty, I think, gives your customer confidence that you're happy to do that repair, and you're happy to do that repair with that type of part and product, and give them that sort of notion that if something goes wrong within 12 months, they can come back and we'll repair it and it won't cost them anything.
That's excellent. That's a really great way to be able to do that, because not only do you provide the services that Apple provides, you bring your own touch to it, and it helps reinforce for the customers that yes, this is some place that I would want to do business with. If anything does go wrong, I can always come back to them, and I can always be guaranteed that I will get a quality repair for my device, which is a great thing.
Absolutely. Yep. And that's what we try to provide every day.
That's excellent. Well, do you think that a lot of other businesses would sort of angle towards that sort of quality or that sort of provision for customers? And if not, why so?
I think we find locally we get a fair amount of devices that come here that have already been somewhere else, and either the customer wasn't satisfied or the other repairer couldn't do the repair. It's a problem for the customer that they might have picked the wrong place for whatever reason. They might have picked it based on price, location, or whatever it is. But I think some repair providers really aren't geared up. They just want to make that quick bit of money and not worry about the customer afterwards. We do see that a lot locally. I'm not sure how that reflects, around in other countries in the world, but I think you've got different levels of repair provider. Some of those who want to retain customers for a longer time, and some of those who just want to make to coin a phrase, a quick buck, and then move on to the next one. We see our customers as customers for life, not just for 15 minutes while they're in the store. If your customer comes in for a repair, there's an opportunity there with that customer to show them a new product or sell them a new product or help them out with something else. It's, we see it as a bigger journey, not just a one-off repair.
That's a pretty great ethos to go by. And I believe that's why iStation is where it is today. So talk a bit about the repair community that's in the UK. Could you tell us a bit about the other shops that are around in your area, some of your friends that you've made along the way? How does the repair business in the UK work different from all other places, if you have any experience with that?
We don't have a great deal of experience really, because when we started out, as I say, we decided that we would just specialize in Apple. We're probably in our locality and probably far and wide, we're probably one of the only ones that does that. Most repair shops will repair any type of product, from a smartphone to a tablet to a games console to anything like that. So we're not really, although we repair products, we're not really the same. We don't really see the other repair shops as competition, because they don't provide the same service or level of service that we do. And sometimes that may alienate a business because you're different from them. So we don't really have many relationships in the local repair community. We have more relationships with IT companies rather than small repair device companies, because of the types of work we do and how we specialize in it. We tend to get other repairers coming to us to do repairs for them that they can then sell back to their customers. So in terms of relationships, we have created relationships with IT companies in the business to business sort of sector. We repair the Macs for them if they're a Windows or a Microsoft type based business. So those relationships are great, and those relationships lead on to new customers for us when we get recommendations. But from a shop and a retail side of the business, the only kind of time we ever get involved with other repairers is when we're getting devices that a customer's already taken somewhere else, and then it comes to us to be repaired correctly or or to have a different diagnosis. I think it's a little bit different than it is in the US and all these different parts of the world where all the repairers have a bigger community and do chat to each other more. I think it's slightly different in the UK.
All right, but all right. So to be able to do the repairs that others have already done, but doing them properly, there must be a point of pride for you that people trust you enough to come to you and be guaranteed that their product will be fixed.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why we set ourselves up differently from everybody else, and the if you look at our retail store, it's the setup of it is quite different to anywhere else you'll go. It's very unique. It's very clean, very tidy. The workshops are exactly the same. We don't invite customers into our workshops, but we treat a customer device as if it was our own. For example, nothing, no devices touch hard surfaces where they may get a scratch or a dent or any kind of damage because that just causes additional problems. So it's I think we're considered locally as if it can't be fixed somewhere else, it'll end up with us in the long run if the customer doesn't come to us first. And yeah, that it's a big plus for us, and we're really happy about that.
It's a great way to be able to look at your business, and I think that that's a very progressive sort of thought because if someone isn't able to take care of it, then you know that they'll come to you, and then you have a strategy for making a customer for life, not just making a quick buck off of them, as you coined the term. Uh, and that's how businesses should be. Do you feel a little, shall we say, a little sad that that's not how other businesses operate?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. I think everybody should give the customer the best service and put a lot of effort into making sure that you've got the right infrastructure and the right people in place to do that. Absolutely.
Absolutely right. That's great to hear. So I wanted to be able to touch on a topic that you mentioned earlier about the right to repair, and we know that businesses have, sort of been talking about it, and it's been really popular in recent circles. In fact, there's been a couple of rulings that have happened in the United States, and I believe the UK and France are already doing something major on it. How do you feel about the future of your work and your relationship with Apple, with the right to repair movement sort of making great strides into it? Do you feel that Apple will sometime in the future change things up, and things will be a little easier for you, or will be a little harder for you, or how do you feel your relationship with Apple will be affected by that?
Um, I think the IRP, the Independent Repair Program, I think that was driven via right to repair. I think Apple wanted to give some third parties access to the tools, the processes, the diagnostics that they withhold from some sort of open market. And I think the IRP was their way of doing that, but controlled and not just let people have free reign. I think maybe the IRP will grow. There'll be more people allowed in it. I think maybe some of the prerequisites to be part of IRP will maybe be lessened a little bit. I don't think Apple will give away lightly its processes, its tools, its diagnostics to the free market and let anybody have them. I think there'll still be processes and things in place, and they'll still call the shots and call the rules on who is allowed to have it. It doesn't just cover device repair. This movement covers everything from cars to tractors to washing machines. It doesn't matter what it is. If you fix something, then you're going to be part of the right to repair. But I think you've got some of the bigger players, Apple being one of them, some of the big manufacturers that are very similar to Apple in terms of their processes that will hold back and not give access to everything. Because it's just that's the nature of their business and the nature of the company and how they create these products that everybody wants by having the control over who does repair them or who has access to the schematics and the parts. So as I say, this is the reason why we got involved with IRP, because we want to continue growing our business in the repair. And the only way we see that going is to be within Apple's ecosystem and getting those tools and processes and parts made available to us. Right to repair it has definitely grown and got some speed going with it recently, and I hope it continues. And I hope that some of these companies do reveal things to third parties to allow them to do more repairs. But I don't think there'll ever be complete control, complete transparency to the repair community.
No, I understand that. Uh, Naturally, the reason that Apple and a lot of these other companies go for this is because they want to be able to control and sort of have ownership of their product, of their IPs, which is all fair. But the fact that they're withholding other people from using things that they've already paid for, and to be able to repair and service them, and to extend the longevity of them, rather than going into an Apple store and buying an absolutely new product off the shelf when their one just works fine and needs a little bit of fixing up. I think that is what needs to change. And that's what exactly the movement is going for. Obviously, nobody wants Apple to just reveal everything and give up complete control, because they also come with a certain level of quality. It's just that their practices have also been making it very difficult for independent repair providers to exercise their craft. And that's something that obviously needs to change if we want this industry to grow. Wouldn't you agree?
I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Whether it's going to happen is is a completely different question.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you on that. So, let's move forward. What sort of future prospects do you have for your business, and where do you see yourself in the next couple of years? That a place where you want to be, and what you want to achieve.
So our kind of plan for the next few years, as I said, is we're going to go down follow the path towards authorized service provider, which is, if we think IRP is complicated, ASP is 100 times more complicated, and there's 100 times more processes. It'll cost a lot more, but that's the route that we want to take. We want the business to sort of grow and flourish as the sort of the premier Apple support provider in our area. So at the moment, we're looking at more staff, more technicians, gearing up for those processes. Our current location has got plenty of room for us to grow. We can support a certain amount of technicians in the workshops and admin staff and sales staff and stuff like that. So all of those things we want to grow. And from my point of view as sort of the managing director, is to work a little less in the business and a little more on it outside of it. So at the moment, I'm still very heavily involved in all of the day-to-day repair processes and talking to customers. Every morning you'll find me in the store on the front desk talking to customers. Then you might find me doing a repair. Then you might find me on a customer's business-to-business site. So I am sort of quite busy within the business, and that doesn't give me enough time to spend working on the business to achieve sort of bigger goals. So that's my goal, is to step away a little bit. Some of the more experienced technicians to take on more sort of more roles in the business, and ultimately we'll myself and my business partner will grow it to a point where it can just function alone without us in the business, and then we'll probably look at it maybe creating another one, having some more stores, or selling it as a franchise or something like that. So, once we've got the model working exactly how we want it, that we can then replicate again, I think that'll be where we're at. That's what we're looking to do.
That sounds like a pretty good prospect. And it sounds like you have things sorted out for you quite a lot. You have a plan, and you want to be able to work on it down the line, and that's where ASP basically is the start of it.
Absolutely, yeah. There's various levels of Apple's locator system, which is, if you go to find an Apple store or look for a repair, it'll recommend a store in your area. Until you're an ASP, you don't get on that locator. And what comes with that locator is more customers, and you need to be in the best place possible to serve that increase in customers. We've spoken to a multinational repairer that is an ASP, and when they moved into that locator system, they said that their repairs increased 200-300% overnight just because of the visibility it gave them. The profit in each repair obviously reduces, but the quantity of the repairs increases, and you need to make sure that you've got the staff and the resources and the infrastructure available to manage that expectation. So, although it's something that we're looking forward to do, and it is quite daunting. It's like somebody flicking a switch, and one day you might have 20 customers in the store, and the next day you might have 80 customers in the store. So that's the kind of impact it'll have in terms of the amount of repairs that we see. So I hope RepairDesk is with us along that journey, and it continues to step up and bring all these fantastic integrations and processes and stuff to the table that keeps us going with that.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. That's what RepairDesk aims to do, and we're looking forward to be able to, improve upon everything, and to be able to provide more services. About the whole prospect of getting on that locator, do you think it's a little? Uh, how do you feel? Are you a little scared with the sort of prospects that will be available, or what sort of feeling do you get?
Absolutely. We've gone through all these different stages in the business of getting onto consultant network and then growing the business and then getting onto IRP and then growing the business. It is the next stage, but I think it's probably the biggest jump we've made so far. We've had a little taste of it with IRP, and it's helping us refine the processes to make us ready. But I think I don't think anybody would be 100% ready to go and ready to sort of take on that amount of work from one day to the next. But we learn as we go along. If something doesn't work, we'll improve a process. If something does work, we'll leave it as it is. The repair business is, regardless of where you are in a pecking order, it's a you're learning something new every day. Where would we be without Google and YouTube? Who knows? Um, and the communities that are out there, as everybody comes across something that they don't know how to repair, but somebody else will have come across it somewhere else who does know how to repair. So yeah, it's a daunting prospect, but something that we're definitely up for the challenge of.
Or absolutely, that sounds great. And it's all about sort of like expanding, getting out of your comfort zone, and going into the realm of opportunity, because that's where everything lies. It's outside of where you are, where you're comfortable with. Like they say, no risk, no reward.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. So, just to be able to wrap things up, could you tell us a bit about your store in general and the sort of people that you work with on a daily basis? Could you talk to us a bit about them?
Yeah. So we have a retail store in our town in Stockton. It's fairly new. As I say, we only moved here in November. We spent 3 months refurbishing it from top to bottom. We have some large display electronic display equipment. So we've got big TVs in all of the windows. We've got quite a large display on the back wall showing product videos and information about us. We have RepairDesk's integration on a quite a big 65-inch portrait display in the window that tells all the customers where their ticket is, what's happening with their ticket. So that's a customer-facing display. All of our sort of customer-facing repair tills, again, they all have customer-facing iPads on there. So when the customer's having their ticket set up, they can put all of their own information in. We've got adverts running on those screens. Again, customer information display, another great integration from RepairDesk. So it kind of makes the customer's visit to us quite informative. Everything's pretty clean. Everything's really sharp. The customer can turn from one place to another, and they'll see more information about something we do or product we supply. So we're all about the audio visuals and these great integrations that we get through RepairDesk. We've got a couple of people that work in the retail store, and their primary role is just to greet customers, is to diagnose, triage the repairs as they're coming in. Some repairs don't get beyond that. We might have a customer in whose phone won't charge, or for whatever reason won't switch on. If it just needs a small clean of a pod or something like that, that's something we do there and then, and we do that free of charge. We don't charge for those types of repairs. We'll also offer a free diagnostic while it's there, just to make sure there's nothing else going on. Anything that just sort of does get booked into us goes to another stage where it gets cleaned, top to bottom. Obviously, it was something that we've always done, but post-COVID, it's even more important to do that now, because you'll appreciate customers' devices are probably one of the dirtiest things that they'll ever handle. It's in their hand 24/7 or on the desk. It's just something you have to be aware of. We have a small team in our sort of back office who manage finance, inventory, telephone calls, social media, that kind of stuff. And then we've got the workshop area where we have the technicians who repair devices, and all the teams have their own roles that all fit together. So we know when a repair is complete. The front desk gets informed via RepairDesk again to say that that repair is complete. So you can now contact that customer and let them know that it's ready to collect. Then the device will come back through that stage again. It'll get cleaned again before it goes out. It's past the front desk, and then they deal with that customer when they return to collect it. So we've got a process all the way through, in and out. We do sell new devices now. We went through a stage where we did a lot of very good quality refurbished devices, but we found recently post-pandemic that customers more and more just want to buy new devices. So we do sell pretty much all of the Apple product range. We have our own range of accessories, as well as a small range of Apple genuine accessories. So if a customer has a repair on a phone, for example, we can then put a new screen protector on it. We can sell them a case. There's always different opportunities with the repair, to kind of upsell on that repair. Again, I think there's various things in RepairDesk that help us do that. And with all of this sort of retail stuff and all of these parts and everything, our inventory has grown dramatically. Again, without a good control of your inventory and knowing how much stuff costs, how much you've got in stock, and where it came from, and all this kind of stuff, you'd really struggle to keep that business without those things in the background. So it's a very retail focused environment now. It's not how we originally envisaged the business, but that's the way the customers have driven us. So we do like our new little glitzy environment out the front of for the customers to come in, and the customers seem to like it too. We get a lot of customers in and who just like to mill around, spend a bit of time with us. We've also created in our new store what we call a business suite. So this is a room where at least 8 people can have a meeting. We supply all of the hardware, so there's video conferencing facilities. We've offer a Mac or a Windows machine. So basically, they can book the book slot online, and they can come in and use our business suite. We don't charge for it. We see it as a service to potential customers. So maybe if you're a home worker and you just want to have a day in a different environment, or if you're a business and you want to meet up with some of your business colleagues, you can book our room for an hour or half a day, whatever it is. Come into our environment. We'll supply all the technology. We'll supply the tea, the coffee, the water, whatever you need, and you've got your own private space to do whatever you need to do. So that was a new addition to the new store. As I say, we wouldn't charge for it because we see it as that customer coming through that person coming through the door that's coming to use our room is a potential customer.
That sounds pretty amazing. In fact, I feel like I would want to be able to go over there and spend half a day over there, doing my work and everything. That's a really great idea. How did you come up with it?
We just wanted to sort of it was a post-pandemic thing really, with all of these people having to work from home, um, and probably will always work from home now. Everybody needs a change of scenery, whether they're sort of one person or a group of people, they need a change of scenery. So we've made sure that it's a very safe environment. We've put everything in place to make sure that people that come to see us have got all the sanitizing products and all of that kind of stuff available. We have all of our own policies for sort of post-pandemic, even if we are not quite post-pandemic yet. But yeah, it's just about giving back really, and offering home workers, small businesses, the man on the street, somewhere else that they can come and spend a bit of time and do a bit of work or have a meeting or a catch up with somebody. Uh, so yeah, so we just wanted to give a bit back really.
Sounds like a pretty good prospect. And is there any chance for this to sort of like be an offshoot of your business? Maybe something like running on the side.
Yeah, I mean we've had a limited uptake at the moment. As I say, it's very new. We've only just started to make it available. We wanted to make sure that um, we were in the right place in terms of people using it. It certainly could be. We could expand into another unit and create multiple rooms. We could go down a Zoom room route and create multiple options for that. Um, so yeah, it's part of that whole process of growing the business and looking for different income streams and different areas that people might want to use us for. We will plan on it as well on using it to give training to customers. So we've got a service that we're looking to trial where I guess you'd call them the older generation might get a new piece of technology and be really confused and not know how to use it to its full extent. So if a customer buys a device from us and they're not quite sure, then we'll use that room again for some sort of hands-on training for the device that they've purchased. Well, yeah, it certainly could grow a little bit further than just one room.
So how's the experience been with it so far?
It's been really well received. We've had a few businesses through the door, businesses that we ordinarily might not have interacted with, which has led to some new relationships. So it's definitely doing what we expected it to do. Um, so we look forward to the future of it.
Absolutely. Looking forward to the future to it as well. Right. So, some of the final questions that I had in mind. I wanted to be able to talk more about you and the sort of personal change that you've experienced with being in the repair industry. How has your life been up until you started working for yourself? And how has that change gradually been along the way in the past 7 or 8 years?
Well, I think when you work for somebody, you've always got the opportunity to switch off. So if you've got a 9 to 5 job, you do your job 9 to 5, then you go home, you switch off and you do your thing, you go on your holiday, you do what you need to do. I think when you're running a small business, especially when you're just starting out, you're never able to switch off. That business is your life. It's 24/7. You can never walk away from it. There's always something happening. You're always thinking about something. You're always planning something. Um, so it does kind of envelop your personal life as well as your day to day. Um, I think over the last few years, we've been on such an extreme sort of period of growth. My wife, we got married 2 years ago. My wife works in the business as well. So she's the operations director. So she manages a lot of the relationship with Apple, inventory, that kind of stuff. So that we go home on a night and we still sit and look at one another and talk about the business. Um, it's quite difficult for us if we want a holiday because um, we're two of the main figures within the business. So getting time outside the business is quite difficult. We do it periodically, but it is really difficult. It does affect your personal life. But obviously, the plans to grow and bring more people in and be in a position where we can work outside the business and not have to be there on a day-to-day basis, and know that the business will continue to run without us is where we're moving towards. Just as we can have that time to switch off and have a bit more freedom, know that everything's in safe hands. So yeah, it's anybody starting out who starts out in working for themselves, and I don't think it matters what industry they work in, will tell you that it is a 24/7 job. Um, you tend to talk a lot about your own business, and I'm sure yourself and all of the team at RepairDesk could be the same. That you're pretty well ingrained in the process and ingrained in what's going on. And you spend a lot of time thinking and talking about it. Um, so yeah, it's sometimes it's a bit overwhelming, depending on which part of the business you're in. So when I started it, I had to be the accountant, I had to be the repairer, I had to be the customer service, I had to be the inventory manager, I had to be all of that, all of those hats on, and gradually, you give them away to somebody else and move further and further along. Um, it's been a good journey, I would say. It's been hard work. It still is hard work, but I wouldn't change any of it. I think it's made us better people. Probably a lot more grey hairs or a lot less hair. Um, but yeah, and then obviously the recent events that has affected everybody worldwide has changed a lot of things, and changed a lot of the things, how we do things on a day-to-day basis. When we moved our retail store, we were closed for 7 or 8 months, so it wasn't the kind of the best time for that to happen. But we worked around it. We've kept going. All that kind of stuff to affect your personal life and how you manage it. We spent, I think, 4 months we spent working from a table at home, which was like going back to the beginning again and working in your bedroom. Just because we couldn't be in our sort of retail store, we had to be locked down like everybody else. So yeah, it's very rewarding. It's challenging, but I wouldn't change any of it.
Words to live by. Well,
Yeah,
that sounds like a great thing, and I'm really glad that this sort of amazing change happened for you in your life, and you obviously got to learn a lot from it, and it does take its toll. But at the end of the day, it's something that you own and something that you're proud of. And there's a lot of people out there who probably have not been able to have that opportunity. And that's a great thing that you were able to capitalize on that. And there's nothing better in the world. So, really, it's amazing, and I'm really happy for you. And I wish you and your wife the best for your business. So just as a final off, could you tell people where they can find you if they were to ever reach out?
yeah. So you can get us on our website is istationonline.co.uk. All of our social media is all iStation Online. So we do all of the sort of major platforms. We are about to pass our social media on to a special social media manager, and who's going to take us into the world of TikTok and Snapchat, which I know absolutely nothing about. So you're going to see us there as well. But again, if you look for iStation Online, they'll find us there. So our sort of presence in terms of social and web is gonna increase quite quickly in the next few months. Um, we're on LinkedIn. We're on all the platforms, as I say, as iStation Online. And if you go to our website, if you go to a repair page and you click on repairs, you'll find the RepairDesk customer tool on there, which is a great experience. Maybe we should have a look at that.
Absolutely. That's really great that you find that such a great experience.
Yeah, it's another great integration. It makes everything so seamless for our customers.
I'm sure our boss will be really happy to hear that.
Yeah, I'm sure he's sending me some whiskey in the post or something.
Absolutely, absolutely. All courtesies extended. All right. Once again, I think that reaches the end of our chat. Once again, thank you so much, Brian, for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much. It was nice to talk to you too.
Nice to talk to you too. Goodbye.
Cheers now. Bye bye.